Hello everyone, my name is Zach, and today I'm going to be going over some tips and tricks about the Far Cry 5 arcade editor with the AI management. And as you can see, I do already have some stuff laid out here, but that's all just to help the process get along. So to start out though, you're gonna want to understand what you're going to be using. So up here on the top, right next to the objects icon is AI management. And through here you can add in different types of animals, your enemy AI, and all types of things of that nature. We're just going to be using basic enemy AI to go over everything today. But as well in the AI management, there are animation points for, say, if you want someone to bang on a door or any number of things like that. There are the control zones, spawning preferences, which it seems that in here right now all they have is for the different types of zombies and the navigation mesh. You can have the navigation mesh displayed, but I find it kind of tiring for the eye, even if you do cut down on the transparency. But it pretty much just shows all of the different places that the AI can walk to and what is able to be like gotten on top of. Like as you can see here on the shed, there's this blue square that just shows that if the AI wanted to, it can climb up here and move around. But I am going to keep display covers on as it is helpful to see and know which objects inside of the control zone the enemies would use for cover. So you could take this off. It doesn't really change much, but for purposes of this explanation, I'm going to go ahead and keep it on just for the sense of ease. So the arcade editor can be a little bit wonky sometimes when it does come with the AI. And the trick to getting over that with how you want the AI to act and all of the stuff like that comes with these control zones. And so with the control zones, there's four different types: defend, defend cautious, move and defend, and rush point. All very self-explanatory. Defend is where the AI is just going to kind of sit in an area, protect it, make sure everything is okay. Defend cautious. This is when the enemies know you're in the area and they're going to keep a better eye out for you. So if you want to add an extra challenge, I would use this. It makes it easier for the enemies to spot the character. They listen out to the noises that they make and all of that. Move and defend. It is a lot like the normal defend, but with it, the AI will just simply kind of walk around in the area. If you do have animation points set up, when they get to a certain place, they can react with it. And rush point just means that they are going to run to a certain point and stay there. So again, go ahead and just delete that. But there are some wonky things that come with this, especially if you're creating a level with the outpost. So as you can see, there's a defend cautious control zone here and a move and defend control zone here. So these enemies are going to be more aware of the player and are going to spot them easier. And this person's just going to move around until they do end up in a fighting position if the player does get caught, which is kind of what this box is here, so they do have something to hide behind. But just go ahead and getting into it just to give off an example of what it all looks like. Apologize for the lag. Sometimes it just decides to be weird. You can see that they seem very more timid. It was easier to spot me and all of that, and you can see he's using that crate over there. But here's something that I really noticed. If you have a melee enemy like this, they're going to stay out of your range and out of your sight if you're not standing in the zone, and they won't come and attack you. This can be a big problem, especially if you want these to be very aggressive fighters to get their attention. So as you can see, I'm in the zone, they come running up, and they try to attack. If you're not inside of that zone for the melee enemies, whether it is the brawler, an angel, or any of the other brawler variants, they're not going to come up to the player to attack them. And I found this to be an issue when I was creating a level recently with the Outpost game mode, is that the melee enemies weren't coming towards me because I was not in their area. So they would keep their distance and act much less aggressively than they normally would. and it can just take away from the feeling of, oh, this person is coming to get me. They want to make sure that they can attack me. And as you notice as well in what I was just doing, none of the enemies decide to go for the alarm point here. And that is because if the alarm is not either inside of one of their control zones, they're not going to target it no matter what, even if it is vital for them to call in the reinforcements. There are a couple ways that you can get around this. Either you can attach the person, the AI, directly to the alarm, or you can just increase the size of the control zones. Now, depending on the type of field you're going for, or if you want certain enemies to either use specific points of cover, stay in one specific area, and all of the stuff like that, then I just recommend using normal defense, but you also want to make sure that someone is going to call in the reinforcements. So you can see here, if I do move this on up into the control zone, I also found out that it is not about if the AI is within the zone of the alarms itself. Uh, the alarm has to be within the zone that they are connected to. So it's really easy to connect them to it. The object preferences, it's over here on the right hand side. You can see alarm, defend cautious, move and defend for the different points. And the default isn't the best because if you are trying to have a longer mission or where it's more of, okay, you're gonna have to go down these hallways and everything, the AI will just start to wander around the map and not stay in one specific area. But now that the alarm is in that zone, you can go ahead and load up in here. You'll at least get that guy out all the way over there, get seen, and you can see that now they are going for the alarm, which if you're not thinking about that, it can be a really easy thing to not pay attention to, is that you don't have any of the AI on the alarm. It is an issue I ran into, and I just want to make sure that everybody else doesn't run into the same exact issues that I did. With like the melee attackers for the AI not coming towards the player, and as well as the AI not actually going to target the alarm areas. So, and the real nice thing about the AI management system that the arcade uh, engine does have that is in Far Cry is you can completely change the sizes of them, grow, shrink, heighten if you want them to have the options for verticality and things like that. And it also comes in a cylinder shape. Sometimes I find it easier to use a square, just personal preference, but a cylinder can come in handy if they're in a tower or anything like that, and you want to make sure that they stay in that area. But that's the thing though, is with the editor, is even if you make a really tiny zone all the way out here or something, if you attach, say, this enemy over to it, to this defense zone, they'll go all the way out there and completely ignore their main defense objectives. So you do also want to be careful with that so as to not have the enemy AI move too far away from the player to where it doesn't feel like it's the same level anymore, as well as make sure that they are where they are supposed to be and doing what they are supposed to do. I've known people in the past that have had to just use the same animation points and practically just spam it in an area for a character to stay there. But all you really do need to do is just shrink the box down so that way it's one tight zone and the AI will stay in this square no matter what. And I just think that it's really nice that the editor and the creators of the Far Cry editor thought of these things, but it's not really anything that is explained very much for just about anything. But those are some tips and tricks to help you with your layout of your levels if you want enemies to react certain ways, stay in certain points, or if you want them to say run across your level to defend this area over here, you can use something like a rush point. And the AI is pretty responsive. Sometimes it can be kind of weird. But say if we added in, what is this? Where's the brawler? Add in a male one. And you also got to make sure you do always attach them to the zone that you want. Otherwise, they'll just be left in their default state and will start roaming around. For the attackers, normally you're not going to spawn this close to the enemies as is. So they'll have more time to get set up, more time to just do what they're going to do. You can see they both hit me with their, their ranged attack for their throwing knives. But again, now that I'm in this area, they're going to start coming towards me, but if I run out, they stop right there. And it just takes away from the feel of, oh, if I hide in this corner right outside of their zone, they'll never be able to get me. So I do recommend if you're using something like a melee attacker, either have them in defend cautious or move in defend, and just really increase the area that they cover so that way they are able to actually confront the player and put pressure on them. But that is all of the tips that I have for you today. If you do have any questions, please do feel free to ask. Thank you very much and have a wonderful rest of your day.